Look what happened here. Screen it up and tested it. That's crazy. Really. Oh. Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? That's like a scratch right there. I came in like a wrecking ball. I came in like a wrecking ball. All I wanted to do was wreck these. Yeah. This one's terrible. I can't breathe, I'm waiting for the exhale. There's no love. Oh well. This is the part, cause I know. How you doing? Let's not talk about religion here. Don't forget. Why say oof? How you doing, Angel? Too cool. There's no love. Oh well. This is the part, cause I know. I can't breathe. I'm waiting for the exhale. What a shame about what? Of course, buddy. Unsubscribes. That sucks. The Yankees lost. There's something inside you. It's hard to explain. Look at all these people that are alive. Something inside you. That's something to explain. You're the same. Don't forget to hit that the sub button. It helps a brother out. It's free. Something inside you. It's hard to explain. It's still the same. There's nothing inside me. It's hard to explain. You're still the same. For you. What happened? I didn't even do nothing. What the fuck? Of course, people leave. I don't eat. I don't sleep. There's something inside you. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, boy, but you're still the same. There's something inside you. There's something inside me. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, boy, but you're still the same. There's something inside you. It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, boy, but you're still the same. There's something inside you. I know that was an apple to relief. I don't eat. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I don't sleep. I do nothing but think of you. I don't eat. I don't sleep. No spamming.
Hey, yeah? I was wondering, do you know the difference between love and obsession? No. And what's the difference between obsession and desire? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you think this feeling can last forever?
Forever?
You mean like forever, ever? Forever, ever? Forever, ever? Forever, ever? Sure. God, I hope so. Me too.
Don't forget to hit that like and sub. I don't sleep. Think of you. I don't eat. I don't sleep. Think of you. Keep me under your spell. You 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 keep me under your I don't eat. I don't sleep. I do nothing but think of you. I don't eat. I don't eat. I don't sleep. I do nothing but think of you. You keep me under your This is crazy. I don't know how other people.
What's being called a monumental term with major cases, including President Trump's authority to tariff imports. Also, looking into his efforts to limit who qualifies for citizenship at birth. The High Court will even hear arguments over whether race needs to be considered when it comes to drawing districts for House representatives. And a potential landmark case over whether transgender students can be banned from girls' sports under Title IX.
Interesting.
A momentous Supreme Court term begins tomorrow. At stake, hugely significant cases that could test the power of Donald Trump's presidency. And it follows an unusually contentious summer, as the justices were flooded with a record number of emergency appeals from the White House, weighing in on immigration, foreign aid, and who Trump can fire, and often siding with the president. So what does that mean for this term? For that, I'm joined now by CNN's chief Supreme Court analyst, Joan Biskupic, to help break this all down. Joan, I'm so glad you're here because you know this stuff better than pretty much anybody. So we're beginning the term tomorrow. What are you watching?
Well, first of all, in this first sitting in October, we have a really good Voting Rights Act case that would be important for your viewers especially. It tests just how broadly the 1965 Voting Rights Act will be applied when states have been found to have discriminated against Black or Hispanic voters in drawing redistricting maps, drawing boundaries that diluted the power of their votes, and whether, as a remedy,
everyone, how y'all
states would then
doing?
be forced to draw what are known as majority minority districts, where they at least consolidate Blacks or Hispanics to give them a chance to elect a candidates of their choice. So there's some tension there between the protections of the 1965 Voting Rights Act and the constitutional guarantee of equal protection. So that comes up this month.
Huge impact, huge implications for the midterms.
Definitely for 2026 and beyond. And then in November, we have a test of President Trump's tariffs. That's, the tariffs that date back to April and his so-called Liberation Day, and just whether he exceeded his power in doing those. That's going to be closely watched, and the justices fast-tracked that because of the billions of dollars at stake. And then in December and January, they're hearing two separate cases that will test his power to remove the heads of independent agencies, including with repercussions for the Federal Reserve, which he's been heavily pressuring.
Right, so if he wins on those,
Yeah.
he could have more say on the economy. If he loses on the tariffs, it could have such a huge impact on economic policy as well. So just such a momentous moment here. And it comes at this time of tension between the justices. Really, have you ever seen this much tension among justices
No.
before?
Well, not in my time, but it's happened before, there used to be, the old phrase, 9 scorpions in a bottle, so they have historically had their bad moments. But
I agree
this
with
current
you.
bench is so divided, and in part it's because of, I think, our polarized times and the way that, the 3 Trump justices came in and sort of energized the right wing in a way that's only really pitted the two sides at each other. Back in the day when I first started covering the court, it would be rare for me to even note the president who had appointed a justice or a judge, who was ruling. But now it's so relevant because of how carefully both sides have made their nominations to the court. And, I think what we saw through the summer as they heard those cases over, you mentioned it at the top of the show, deportations, federal funds, firings, who grant money, you name it, they had those cases come up. And usually, Manu, they have a pretty good restful restorative summer. It was not a restful summer. And I think we have a comment that Justice Sonia Sotomayor said at one point that reflects the divisions and how the liberal justices are so certain that the default mode of the conservatives is always rule for them. And she said, today's order clarifies only one thing. Other litigants must follow the rules, but the administration has the Supreme Court on speed dial.
Oof.
I
You don't
know.
usually see that.
No, and you can imagine that did not make her conservative colleagues happy.
No, I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
And you've literally written the book about John Roberts, the Chief Justice, and you had a story recently about how the Roberts Court became the Trump Court. This is now 20 years as chief, which is unbelievable. I remember when he got confirmed. Are you surprised that he has given Trump so much latitude?
Well,
He shouldn't.
think of how much the court has changed. He already came in very conservative. He was a Reagan conservative, so he already came in that way. But he was somebody who could at times gravitate toward the center. Remember, he cast the key vote to save Obamacare in 2012. And he's always been a little bit more institution-minded to try to protect the integrity of the bench. But now he has 5 right-wing justices on the other side of him. And I think his mode of operation is sort of, if I can't beat him, if I can't compromise with him, I better join him, because then he can at least control the opinions. But he has gone very far, as you know, just a year ago with the immunity ruling, giving Donald Trump essentially a blank check to do what he's doing right now with his many
J-Man.
policies. So I'm surprised that he's dug in so far on the right wing, but
Do you expect him to in this term as well?
well, I think he's very aware of the criticism of the court these days. He's somebody who understands that the court is supposed to remove itself from politics, and right now it's so embroiled in politics. I could see him trying to at least maybe pull another justice over more toward the center to at least look like it's trying to reach some sort of more balanced set of rulings. But, it's kind of like what the Obamacare decision we felt that we could take that further into his tenure, but now I'm wondering if basically that chapter of his life is over, and now, as I say, if he can't,
Why you call me
join
Nacho?
us on the right wing.
Is he aware of, again, the polls have just been brutal about the Supreme Court. Just how confident are you in the judicial branch, Supreme Court? A Gallup poll recently, just 16% of the American public. That's stunning.
It is, and what he says is that they tune it out. They're here to decide the law, but I think you're going to see more statements and opinions, or in
What?
In
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not lying. I don't even know what those words mean. Yeah, that's what I'm confused. That's crazy. That P. Diddy only got 4 years and 2 months. Yep. I don't support people like that. Yep. He'll be out before then because he already spent 14 months in jail. J-Man. So he'll be out like 3 years. Yeah. So Diddy got like a couple of years. He got like 3 years left on his sentence. Yep. Cat Randall, how you doing? Earlier, there was somebody named Cat here. Just Cat, not Cat Randall, Cat. My early stream.
Mark, how do you get to what's called Club Fed? You know, like the Martha Stewart prison, where it seemed like more closer to summer camp that you can't leave than it did to like a supermax prison.
Well, you saw recently with Joy Maxwell that she got switched from one of those more what I would consider a harder facility to a kind of a camp-like facility. And there are camp-like facilities on both coasts, but that would require a sentence under a certain number of months and would require the judge making certain findings, and the judge can make, and he'll be asked, I'm sure today, to designate or recommend a designation. But it's Bureau of Prisons and Probation who is going to inform that and also going to inform how he's designated.
Now, let me stick with you on this one, Mark, since you're the celebrity defense attorney. Do they consider that he really is very famous and, you know, in his defense, would be more the center of attention in any prison than your average prisoner?
Yeah, absolutely. They don't. The last thing they want is for something untoward to happen to him while in custody. I know that seems counterintuitive because you're punishing somebody by putting him in custody, but no, they're very attuned to that. They take great steps to try to protect people, because the last thing they want is to have to deal with the attendant publicity if something were to happen.
I mean, you have right now, Matt, him complaining about the conditions where he's at the Metropolitan Detention Center, which is rather infamous in its unpleasant conditions. He's claiming through his lawyers that he only has showers that are extremely cold or extremely hot.
You complaining that you only
He has to use a toilet that's 2 feet away from other inmates and with no doors. He is claiming that he has to eat meals that may or may not have maggots on them, which is pretty extreme. I don't know whether it's true, but that's what he's alleging. And I don't know. He's saying the lawyers are arguing those 13 months should count for more than your average 13, given where he has spent them.
Yeah, good luck with that argument. You know, that's going nowhere.
It's not.
Do you remember, Megan, he had a reality show? Diddy had a reality show that went on for a while. He had a reality show way back in the day, and I watched an episode. I had an old girlfriend that was really into it, and he came into the group, and it was like, it's almost like an apprentice type thing where people would come in and they'd work for him for a little while, and you know, he was eccentric and all that. But there was an episode where he came in, somebody was complaining about something, and he said, there is no bitch assness at Bad Boy Records. No bitch assness. So he invented a word. And when I saw that letter complaining about the conditions, that's exactly what I thought. It was like, dude, you're expressing bitch assness. And he is, that's going to fall on deaf ears of the court, because essentially that sounds like a celebrity complaining about uncomfortable conditions that everybody else in that jail also has to endure. And plus, I'd be very surprised. Jails are terrible, and you're right, this is a notorious one. But maggots in the food, I don't buy it, actually. And I know it's not great, but I don't buy it. Yeah.
The press reached out to MDC for a comment on that, and they didn't get back to them. But I mean, I don't buy it either. If you had maggots on the food out there, like you'd never, this would be a big story, and you'd have tons of lawyers in there, the ACLU among them, filing claims that this is a violation of civil rights. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, the interesting thing, and one of the reasons that they put this in the sentencing document, in the Southern District, in several reported cases, judges have imposed either a lesser sentence or given kind of bonus points, so to speak, for being housed in the MDC. I've been to that MDC countless times and to see Sean and otherwise. And the people who work it are extraordinarily helpful, but the facility itself is really a challenge. And I'm not eating there other than to buy him stuff out of the vending machine. But but what I usually tell clients when they complain about the food is, it's a forced diet. I mean, rarely does somebody go in there very skinny, so you can come out in better shape. But it is, and there is a precedent, so to speak, for judges to give you some kind of credit for it being housed there.
He was talking about how he wasn't being given his pre-diabetic meals, Matt, and how he's not getting therapy for his knee and his shoulder, which he says he needs. I mean, that's just prison, right? Like, if you were somebody who's getting physical therapy on the outside, does the prison provide that to you? Do you have to have pre-diabetic meals? Like, how much of this gets entertained by any prison?
None.
Well, a lot, believe it or not.
Really?
As far as going back to what Mark said, they don't want anybody famous to get seriously assaulted or killed. They really do have to take steps. And like you pointed out, the ACLU sues everybody all the time. They sue prisons all the time. So they do have to provide some of that. But one of the interesting things, and this was in the letter too, and I know this caught Mark's attention, he keeps talking about prison. This is not prison. This is jail. Prison is the next step. Prison is where he's going after sentencing. And prison can be a lot more hardcore, believe it or not, than this place, depending on where he is ultimately classified and sent to. So jail and prison are two totally different things. We interchange those two terms, but this is a holding facility. I know some federal prisoners do their time in local facilities like this. It's no picnic, but there's a lot worse places than where he is right now.
I think they try to make it a deterrent, right? My guess is they don't want it to feel like the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, but Matt makes a really good point. It's supposed to, ideally, pre-conviction, if you're being held in a facility, pre-conviction has a constitutional different standard than post-conviction. And that's the difference between, at least theoretically and constitutionally, between a jail and a prison. And that's why Matt's point is so brilliant and why you have to think about it. Where he goes, what the judge says once he sentences him is everything. I mean, if the judge wants to, they know how. Federal judges, to Matt's point, and it made me think of an old joke that I will not repeat here, but federal judges sit on the right hand of God, and they know what they are doing, and they can punish you like nobody's business.
That's the thing he's got going against him, Matt, is that judge sat through that entire trial, same as we did, and heard all of the terrible evidence against Diddy as a human. Even though he wasn't found guilty on RICO, he heard about how he bribed the security clerks at the Intercontinental to hide that tape so he couldn't be caught. He heard about him with the girls, his lover, his girlfriend, throwing up because she couldn't keep going with the freak off, saying, oh, good, now that you've thrown up, you can get back out there and finish up strong, like treating her like a racehorse. I mean, the inhumanity with which he behaved toward these women is seared. And I'm sitting here at a desk. I wasn't the judge in the courtroom looking at the women telling these stories.
Well, and let's not forget about the arson as well of Kid Cudi. Right, Megan? And I'll tell you another thing that's in the back of this judge's mind, and I'd be interested in Mark's thoughts on this. But look, the LA County criminal system is almost, under George Gascon, it really was almost like a failed state. And you look at some of these crimes of violence that he heard, like the Cassie Ventura video that we all saw, like the arson of Kid Cudi, all of that happened in Los Angeles. And you're talking about this is the LA City Council bought hook, line, and sinker into the defund the police stuff. Right now, there's 8,600 sworn officers at LAPD. It's the lowest it's been since 1995. And a lot of cases like this go uninvestigated, unsolved, unpursued in LA County. All of these other crimes, these were state cases, and he wasn't convicted of any of those because
They don't
there was no
care.
federal equivalent. They wrapped him in the RICO stuff. But in that judge's mind, he's got to know that LA is a mess under George Gascon, who was recently voted out. And I think Gascon was one of the worst things that ever happened to public safety in Mark and I's town of Los Angeles, ever. But that's also, I think, going to factor in all these crimes that were not properly investigated, that were not properly pursued, that the judge heard all about. That's what was so interesting about his statement today. I'm going to consider these other crimes of violence. And it's almost like, there's an element there that the reason why we're seeing so many federal prosecutions out of LA crimes, and we've seen a bunch of them. Matthew Perry is another example of that. There were state charges all over that case. The feds took it up because Gascon and the former structure, I should say, because we got a new guy now, Nathan Hochman, who's 1,000 times better. I think Mark will disagree.
Now you're really throwing down on me. Nathan Hochman, you want to talk about a failed DA's office? Jesus.
Don't be careful. You got to go in front of these people and deal with them still, Mark.
I know, but Matt and I will agree to disagree here. I've got but by the way, the Intercontinental incident itself, so people understand, took place well before George Gascon was ever voted in. I mean, that was talk about something that was 9 years ago. And
it was buried.
Interesting. Yeah, and it was buried for a lot of reasons. I mean, not the least of which Cassie, the problem with this case is everybody went first to a civil lawyer. Nobody was reporting anything to the police. Everybody wanted a paycheck. I mean, to the point where there was even one of the guys who testified at the trial and said, no, I'm not going to sue. What does he do? 2 weeks ago, he sues. So, I mean, I've in full disclosure, my office has defended a number of these things, and each one is, frankly, more ridiculous than the other.
Did you know gold is up around 40% this year?
Wow.
That's not speculation. That is reality. And if a portion of your savings is not diversified into gold, you're missing the boat. Here are the facts. Inflation, still too high. The US dollar, still too weak. And the government debt is still growing. This is why central banks are flocking to gold. They're the ones driving prices up to record highs. But it's not too late to buy gold from Birch Gold Group and get in the door right now. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA.
Guys, I'm gonna come back later. Thank you for joining us. Bye.